On May 22, 2011, a very dangerous situation unfolded in Joplin. Please take cover. Oh no, it's behind us. Good God, it's a massive tornado approaching. Massive destruction has occurred. We have not found anyone alive, only bodies. An ordinary Sunday in Joplin became the deadliest tornado of the century. But that was only the beginning. What really happened that day? To understand it, we need to go back to 2011. That year is etched into memory. It was one of the deadliest, most active tornado seasons on record. Hundreds of lives were lost, and thousands were forever marked by the events. Meteorologists observed troubling signs of aggressive atmospheric fronts and instability. On April 27th, the atmosphere burst open, unleashing over 200 twisters. It was a perfect recipe for a weather alert nightmare, tearing through the U.S. First responders were so busy pulling the living from debris, they ignored the dead. You can hear the sound of smoke detectors in the distance, but no one's here. The smell of death lingers. Homes have been pulverized, leaving only ruins. There is a church that is now just a concrete slab. No sign of its former self. In less than 60 seconds, the tornado destroyed half the homes in town. This was the strongest tornado to hit Mississippi in over 50 years. These are the most devastating storms this community has seen since 1974. For 4 days, a storm of biblical scale swept through the region. Nearly 360 tornadoes carved a path of destruction across the landscape. Textbooks would later refer to it as the 2011 super outbreak. The huge outbreak was so severe, it earned the name Super Outbreak of 2011. Only once before, in April 1974, did an outbreak get named a super outbreak. Locals barely had time to catch their breath before tragedy struck again. On May 22, 2011, Joplin faced the costliest tornado in modern U.S. history. The tornado touched down and changed everything for the community. How did it happen? It started like a postcard spring morning. In Northeast Joplin, families gathered to celebrate graduation, laughter in the air. Hugs were exchanged as the future seemed bright, but something was hidden. Something no one saw unfolding. 190 miles to the west, the sky began to stir. Meteorologists were on high alert, watching every signal closely. At 1:30 p.m., Tornado Watch number 341 was issued with a 15% probability. For a town that had heard it all before, such warnings didn't sound serious. Nothing new, just another routine alarm. People were exhausted from survival mode. Unfortunately, familiarity dulls our instincts. Waiting can be a risky habit. At 4 p.m., a thunderstorm appeared on radar and rapidly intensified into a supercell. Then it merged with another storm, forming a spiraling vortex. Towering thousands of feet, the air began to spin like a drill. A mesocyclone locked onto Joplin like a target. 5:09 p.m. The National Weather Service issued a tornado warning for Jasper and Newton counties. The countdown began. We are in western Joplin, looking to the northwest. As we mentioned before, a high precipitation supercell is forming. This means you won't see a tornado if one is on the ground. Right now, we have reports of funnel clouds. 5:17 p.m. The warning was updated. 28 sirens wailed across the city. Emergency alerts echoed on radio, TV, and weather channels. This time, the storm would teach a harsh lesson. Sirens aren't always heard, especially with windows closed. The hills and valleys created sound distortion. Rain and hail further masked the threat. A 2012 study found why the 2011 Joplin tornado had so many fatalities. 10% of residents, up to 5,000 people, were unaware of the warning. Of the 90% who did hear it, 84% took the NWS alert seriously. 77% said they headed to the safest place they could find. Man, that is looking ugly. And that's the tornado siren. Man, look at that. Well, that's not good. 5:29 p.m. On meteorologists' screens, the hook echo became crystal clear. Strike was inevitable. We've got some information on this storm. Let's go ahead and go to the Freeman First Alert Doppler radar. Galena is reporting trained weather spotters are now sightings of funnel clouds. Caitlin, you were telling me about that just a moment ago. 5:34 p.m. The tornado made landfall on Joplin's southwest side. Public report indicates a trained spotter has seen it. But there's our tower cam. That would appear to be a power flash. That could be from a lightning strike, but that is the portion of the storm we are concerned with. Tornado sirens once again going off in Joplin. Those are definitely power flashes that we are seeing on the ground. TV networks and phone lines were going down. There was no way to carry calm professionalism anymore, and no need. What they saw was terrifying. In moments, the studio was filled with voices of anxiety and fear. Take cover. Yes, please. Right now. I am telling you to take cover. Take cover right now. We do have a tornado on the ground. This is a tornado. Yeah, this is a very dangerous situation. We cannot stress this enough. If you are in Joplin, please take cover. Then the broadcast cut out. Darkness begins to swallow the city. 5:37 p.m. Just 3 minutes later, the tornado slammed into St. John's Regional Medical Center. Inside, over 180 patients and medical staff had received a warning. They followed the protocol, but time was not on their side. The hospital that is right here cannot take any patients because the hospital has lost all power. It was struck with immense force. Nearly every window in the building has been shattered. The roof is severely damaged. Every vehicle in the parking lot is a total loss. All critical care patients have been transferred. They were taken to a neighboring hospital, which can only accept life-threatening injuries. The tornado devastated the hospital, knocking out power completely. Tragically, 5 patients and 1 visitor died. More fatalities followed in the days ahead, leaving a community in mourning. At 5:39 p.m., the Greenbrier nursing home faced its darkest moments. This would become one of the most harrowing minutes of a national tragedy. Inside were around 90 people, including elderly residents and visitors. They reacted quickly to warnings. They did everything right, but nothing is ever guaranteed in such a crisis. The hum of the storm turned into a growl, and then a deafening roar filled the air. The building trembled as the tornado struck, collapsing in mere seconds. In an instant, 21 lives were lost, leaving a community shattered. At 5:40 p.m., the tornado reached Joplin's downtown core, obliterating homes. A security camera captured the street disappearing, frame by frame. But the storm was just gathering force, charging toward Joplin High School. Several wings of the school vanished as the tornado struck. Surveillance footage captured the moment the wind tore through the hallways. Windows shattered, walls caved in, and ceilings crashed down around students. Had graduation not been relocated, it could have led to hundreds more fatalities. Days later, pieces of the school were found over 60 miles from the city. A piece of jewelry was discovered, a reminder of the day of graduation. The tornado struck while graduation ceremonies were underway in Joplin. Fortunately, the ceremonies were not held at the high school, which was demolished. Each step around here tells a story of loss and survival. The nearby Franklin Technology Center, a vocational hub, also faced destruction. Miraculously, everyone inside survived the tornado's impact. At 5:42 p.m., the storm's fury struck the Harmony Heights Baptist Church. Inside, over 50 congregants had taken shelter from the chaos outside. But tornadoes recognize no sanctity. They don't stop for reverence. 3 lives were tragically lost, their bodies found beneath the rubble. One of the victims was the pastor's mother, a beloved figure in the community. The pastor recalls singing a special song she had requested right before the storm. As a symbol of faith and resilience, the church was later rebuilt. At 5:43 p.m., the tornado reached its peak intensity, with winds over 155 miles per hour. The enhanced Fujita scale measures tornado intensity. For comparison, a Formula One car reaches that speed at full throttle. But here, there's no track, no driver, and no finish line. Just pure destruction unfolding. It's tearing up the entire city on the south side of Joplin right now, creating massive devastation. The storm smashed into the Hampshire Terrace apartment complex, taking 12 more lives. Dozens of lives changed forever with this brutal onslaught. Then, like a detonation, it hit Rangeline Road. Rangeline is the city's commercial heart, filled with stores, gas stations, and families out for dinner. Children holding ice cream cones were suddenly caught in a nightmare. Storm chasers captured the moment on film. We've got to find some place to take shelter. Oh, storm shelter. I'm worried about the tornado, as I am about those gigantic hailstones. What about that Home Depot? Would that be a bad spot? Or, I don't know, that's all I see. Look, get those lights up there. Oh, I just saw that big power flash. Whoa, straight through those trees. That was a big power flash. It could be lightning too. It could be lightning. Yeah, it's too low to be lightning. That's very low. Oh my God, that's power flashes. Lots of power flashes. We need to get out of this town. Holy Jesus. Wow, you can see it. The shift from thrill to horror. The gut punch of a tour guide shouting, "Get out of there right now." This was no longer a show. It was a death sentence. Holy shit. That means it's crashed and stuff. Oh shit. You can see the rain wrapping around them. Freaking go, people. Go. Just go. Oh no. It's behind us. Oh good God. This is bad. Really bad. Jesus. There's a monster there. Oh my God. Oh my God. Power flash. It is right there. In mere seconds, AT&T, Walmart, Pizza Hut, and Home Depot were obliterated. There was almost no way to survive in that area. Others were hurled into nearby businesses over 200 meters from the parking lot. Metal twisted like foil. In one car, they later found an empty child's car seat. The driver was never identified. At Joplin's Home Depot, search and rescue personnel found only bodies. They've only found bodies. The storm still craved human fear. 5:46 p.m. East Middle School. Security cameras recorded the roof being ripped into the sky. Windows exploded from inside pressure. Thankfully, the building was empty. 547 Fast Trip gas station. Customers crammed into the walk-in freezer, practically saying their goodbyes. The audio captured from inside is gut-wrenching, full of sorrow, rage, and courage. That's a 20. That's a 20. Everybody get down. Low on the ground. That's breaking in the back. Yeah, I know. I know. He's only 4. It's okay. It's okay. We're good. We're good. It's okay. It's okay. I think we're gonna do it. Jesus. Holy Father. Jesus. 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 Holy Father. The entire building was leveled, yet the people inside survived. When they crawled out, the streets that had once raised them were now unrecognizable. What had once been alive with motion and sound was now piles of brick, shredded metal, and the smell of gas in the air. All right, here's the gas station that we were at. We parked right over there. The car got blown away. The tornado slashed across Interstate 44 in its last somber bows. It flipped trucks like toys, left cars wrecked and scattered along the way. One eyewitness would later say, it looked like a giant dropped its fist on the highway. There was a point when the disaster exited the city, but not completely. Because under the rubble, voices cried for help. People were trapped. The death toll was still unknown. It was far too early to exhale. Hands were needed. Tent hospitals, doctors, everyone. So the entire city became a volunteer command center. Help poured in from neighboring states, from the north, from the south, with no orders, just human instinct. The tornado outlined a quarter of Joplin on the map. 4,000 families lost their homes and the years of life within them. 3,500 more homes were severely damaged. Over 1,000 people were injured. More than 500 commercial buildings were destroyed. 10 schools, 2 hospitals, dozens of churches. Total damages? Over $2.8 billion. But no number can account for the price of a life. Familiar voices. Forever silenced. 156 chairs sat empty at family tables, and the total wasn't final. The storm kept killing, even after the winds died. In the following days, a new enemy emerged. Mucormycosis, a rare fungal infection spread from the drifted soil to open wounds and lungs. 18 cases, 5 more deaths. It took everything Joplin had, but fate did not break this city. It stood back up. Within 3 years, school bells rang again. The hospital reopened, and Mercy Park bloomed where ruins once lay. Only thunder, sleepless nights, old photos on shelves, and quiet memorials kept the pain alive. But so does the memory of quiet heroism. Christopher Lucas, Pizza Hut manager, saved 15 people. He led them into the freezer. He held the door shut from the outside with a belt because it wouldn't lock from the inside. The tornado took him. Everyone else lived. The only reason we survived is because he held the door shut with a strap. Dean Wells, an employee of a Home Depot, died holding the door, saving strangers. Literally, holding the door between life and death. He managed to lead dozens of customers into a break room, the only shelter the store had. While heading back to help more, he was buried under the rubble of the wall. Don Lansaw shielded his wife in the bathtub. The house turned into splinters. He didn't make it. She did. I felt him cover me, and then he didn't move anymore. That was love, stronger than death. He's my hero. While shielding her body, Ton was struck by debris and died from a puncture wound. Grace Aquino wrapped her arms around her 11-year-old son as the church walls fell around them. He lived. She didn't. At her funeral, the pastor said she was a prayer made flesh. Cheryl Nelson, an AT&T clerk, led a family with young children to find shelter. She stood by the door, bracing it shut until the building ultimately gave way. 10 survived that day, but she didn't. Mark Lindquist, a social worker, covered 3 disabled clients. He lay across them himself. All 3 died. Mark was thrown a block away. He was in a coma, but Lindquist kept fighting and proved the doctors wrong. He came out of the coma and started asking questions. The first words he said to me were, "Are my guys okay?" I had trouble dealing with that at first, but I realized that they're in a better place, and now they're watching over me. I feel like I have 3 angels. After coming out of the coma, his life was put on hold again. He contracted a life-threatening fungal disease. He saw an angel in a light green light. At that point, I knew the fungus was gone. Very soon after, they told us he was free of it. The tornado took nearly everything, but it could not take human dignity. It could not take love. Take care of one another. Every storm eventually ends. But the way we hold each other, that remains.